we can have access to a certain field that's very grounding, very peaceful. We kind of feel like we're floating in a high frequency, and then an hour later, it kind of feels different. Why does that shift happen?
All right, so we're always moving. We're in constant motion, and our state of being. There's a few layers here. I'll stick with the more surface ones. We're always thinking and feeling, and we're always expressing, whether we realize we're expressing or not. And what happens is that the fields within fields, some fields can't support other kinds of fields within it. Okay, so in your home, in your sacred space, it's a lot easier to have you access certain things because you've cultivated that. Go into nature and you're going to have a whole nother level. Go to, someplace where it's really busy and chaotic, that's not going to be so easy. Okay, because the field is very different. The field within fields is not supported. It's not to say that you can't do it in amongst chaos, but takes a lot more mastery. And this is that next level that people don't realize, is that we are trained to release energy, ooze life force energy out, which makes us weak. And it also makes us, there's a, you can call it, we get we get feelers out. Like, say we really want to understand what's happening, or we really want to know something, or have control, or whatever. We send all these little energetic tendrils out. Now that's life force energy not available for us anymore. So we end up being more susceptible to these other fields because our life force is getting diminished because we're leaking out constantly until we learn not to. And that is a journey. It takes time because there's a lot of internal needs and belief systems that keep us in that leaking state. Okay. Empaths are Empaths know exactly what I'm talking about, where you feel a certain way, and then you go with a group of people or a friend or a family member, and all of a sudden you're resonating with them more than yourself. Okay, that's because on a we have a deep-seated need to make sure that other people feel comfortable with us. But what that does is it dishonors our frequency and what we need to feel stable and solid in those times of interaction. So that's an unwinding, because you can tell yourself that. I can tell people and they can intellectually know that, but it doesn't change the fact that it happens, right? And that's what we do in the academy, is flip the script on that, understand how to stop leaking that energy. Where do you rest inside of yourself? And there's benefits to understanding that your being, and this is some ancestral program that gets rearranged, is, your being is actually the home frequency of you is what's meant to be here. That's actually very an alchemical presence, but we don't experience that and we don't trust that. So we accommodate others. So it takes some unwinding of belief systems and the ancestral stuff to actually have the courage and the capacity to stand in our own alchemical presence when we're with people who have a different frequency than we do.